My family kicked me out at 18 because they didn't have room. Now they want me to hand over my house to my brother as if it was theirs. I'm 30 now. I own a small but paid off house. It's nothing fancy. 2 bedrooms, a battered driveway, a stubborn old boiler. But it's mine. Every corner of it is something I earned. I mention that because apparently my family forgot, or they just chose to ignore it. They want me to sign the deed over to my brother, not sell it, not rent it, give it. The same brother who got the room I used to sleep in. The same parents who told me at 18 that there just wasn't space for me anymore. Let me back up. I was kicked out of the house the week I turned 18. Not for drugs, not for crime, not for anything dramatic, just logistics. At least, that's what they said. We can't afford groceries for 5 people anymore. You're technically an adult now. Your brother needs his own room. That last one hit hardest. My brother is 5 years younger. The golden kid. The one with perfect grades, soccer trophies, and an early admission letter to a prep academy that my parents were so proud of. I wasn't a failure, but I wasn't a star either. Worked part-time, maintained decent grades, kept my head down, didn't ask for much, didn't matter. At 18 and 3 days, I was standing on the front lawn with a backpack and a duffel bag. My mom handed me a grocery bag with 3 cans of soup, 2 packs of ramen, and a hoodie I hadn't worn since 10th grade. My dad told me to man up. My brother watched from the window, confused, or maybe indifferent. The first few years were brutal. I couch surfed, worked double shifts at a gas station, ate more peanut butter than I care to remember, slept in my car more than once. I didn't have no contact with my family, but they never reached out. Birthdays passed, holidays passed. The only time I got a call was when my cousin needed help moving a sofa. When I finally landed a warehouse job with stable hours, I saved obsessively. No vacations, no nights out. Just rent, food, and the idea that one day I'd never owe anyone a damn thing. I bought the house at 27, foreclosure listing. Took me 1.5 years to make it livable. I tore up the carpets myself, taught myself to patch drywall from YouTube. Every blister felt like a step away from who I used to be. And I never told them. They didn't ask. Until 2 months ago. Phone rings. It's my mom. She hasn't called in over 4 years. She says they're thinking of downsizing. Dad's job might be going away. My brother, now 23, is ready to settle down. Apparently, he and his girlfriend are expecting. Then she says it, like she's asking to borrow a rake. We thought maybe you'd be willing to pass the house on. It would mean the world to your brother. Pass it on, like it's a family heirloom, like I didn't bleed for this place. When my mother asked if I could pass the house on, I didn't say anything at first, but she was dead serious. Her voice stayed level, software, like she was offering me a chance to be noble, so I asked, why would I do that? Her tone shifted instantly. It's not about you, it's about family. We all make sacrifices. That word, we. I nearly laughed. I told her no, politely, firmly, without emotion. Just no. She paused, then said, "You're not even married. It's not like anyone else needs it. Like a house is only valuable if you're filling it with children." I ended the call. I didn't argue. Didn't hang up in anger, just pressed end. The next day, my brother texted me. First time I'd heard from him in 6 years. No greeting, no, how are you? Just, heard you're being difficult. This would really help us. I didn't reply, not because I was angry, but because I was too busy pulling out my old notebooks. See, I keep records, always have. I opened the page marked Year 1. Rent, $430 per month. Food, $126 per month. Shoes from the thrift store, $8. First job after high school, $7.25 per hour. Overtime hours worked in 2015, 6/12. Every number is a reminder. Not because I wanted to wallow, but because no one was there to remember it for me. My family didn't check on me when I was sleeping in the back of my car in winter. They didn't ask if I had health insurance when I cracked a rib lifting pallets. They didn't call when I had a tooth infection and no dental plan. They didn't show up when I signed closing papers in a button-up shirt that didn't fit because it was all I had clean. But now, suddenly, I'm family again. Now my brother's girlfriend is pregnant. Now he's really stressed. Now my parents are worried about the baby having a stable home. Now I'm being told I'm bitter, childish, spiteful, and for what? Because I said no to giving away the roof I built over my own head? A few days later my aunt called, said she heard what happened, that it's not too late to do the right thing. Don't let stubbornness ruin your relationship with your brother. There it was again. As if there was a relationship. I asked her when the last time she remembered us speaking was. She said it didn't matter. Family doesn't keep score. But the thing is, they do. They just don't like when the scoreboard's turned around. After the calls started, I noticed a pattern. None of them came to ask how I was. They came with scripts. Lines like, "Your brother's just starting out. You're in a good place now, aren't you? It's not a big house. You can always get another." Always ending with the same line, dressed up in different words. Why can't you just let it go? I didn't tell them that the day before my mom's call, I got promoted. After 6 years at the same firm, mostly unnoticed, my manager finally said what no one in my family ever had. "I know how hard you've worked. You've earned this." It wasn't flashy, just a raise, a title change, and an office with a door. But that door meant more to me than anything they ever gave, because it meant I built something on my own name and they had no idea, because in 12 years they never once asked. The texts didn't stop. They just changed form. My cousin posted something vague on Facebook about people forgetting where they came from. Another cousin I hadn't seen since high school liked it, then sent me a photo of my brother's girlfriend's ultrasound. Just the image, no text. Like that alone was supposed to break me. Like I was supposed to see a blurry shape on a screen and suddenly forget being 19 and eating peanut butter with a fork in the back of my car. They're not asking for help. They're asking for ownership. Like I owe them back pay for the childhood I scraped through. And here's what no one seems to grasp. If they had asked, really asked, if my brother had called and said, "I know we haven't spoken. I know you were left out, but I need your help, and I understand if you say no," I probably would have listened. Maybe I would have offered money, maybe a loan, maybe even a down payment on a place of their own. Because I've helped strangers on the street more than these people ever helped me. And I did it gladly. But they didn't come with humility. They came with expectation. And entitlement and love do not live in the same house. A week after the last call, I drove by their neighborhood. My old home, the one I was kicked out of, still had the same broken shutters I used to ask Dad to fix. Still had the crack in the sidewalk I tripped on riding my first bike. And the porch. Still missing the railing I offered to help install. He told me back then, "If you want to fix something, fix yourself first." So I did. And now they want a piece of what I've built with those same hands. I wrote the letter I never thought they deserved. Not out of anger, but to end the story. They keep rewriting. I didn't plan on responding. I'm not a fan of drama, and I've always believed that silence is cleaner than confrontation, but they kept pushing. Subtle guilt from relatives, snide comments through mutuals, a voice message from my uncle that ended with, "One day you'll wish you'd done the right thing." And that was it, that phrase. The right thing. Funny how people throw that around when it never applies to their own actions. So I sat down, opened a blank document, and wrote. Not to argue, not to defend, just to state, clearly, finally, the version they never bothered to hear. To whoever this letter finds, I know you believe I'm being selfish. that I'm letting pride or resentment get in the way of helping family. But let me explain something that's never been said, not to you and not to myself out loud. When I was 18, I wasn't a rebel. I wasn't failing, I wasn't violent or addicted or lost. I was inconvenient. You needed space. My brother needed a room. My existence became a problem to solve, not a person to support, so you solved it. Quickly. And for 12 years, I solved everything else. Alone. Rent, debt, toothaches, loneliness, hunger, exhaustion, nights I wanted to disappear, mornings I forced myself to try again. No birthday cards, no "how are you?" No visits, just silence. Until I bought a house. Suddenly, I'm useful again. I'm not angry anymore. I was, deeply, but now I'm just finished. You don't get to claim the fruits of a tree you cut down. I wish my brother and his family peace, but they'll have to find it under a roof they earn themselves. My house is not a symbol of spite, it's a symbol of survival, and I won't erase it for the comfort of people who helped dig the hole I climbed out of. That's the right thing. N. I didn't expect a reply, but I got one, an email from my brother, just one line. You really think you're better than all of us now? No apology, no remorse, no reflection. And that told me everything I needed to know. Because the story they've written in their heads isn't about healing, it's about access. And I'm done granting it. After my brother's email, something clicked. Not in an explosive way, not in a dramatic, "that's it, I'm done" way. Just a quiet snap, like a frayed thread finally letting go. It was the last time I checked for any messages from them. The last time I reread old texts, trying to understand what I could have said differently. Well, the last time I looked at their profiles, wondering if they were talking about me. Because I realized they don't hate me. They just don't see me. Not as I am, not as I was. Just as a utility they forgot existed until they needed something fixed. So I started turning inward, but not in the isolation way people imagine. More like decluttering. I cleared my contacts list, archived old family photos, donated the boxes of clothes and furniture I'd clung to just in case someone visited. Nobody ever did. I replaced them with things that felt like me. Books I actually wanted to read, a real coffee table, art on the walls that didn't remind me of a house I was thrown out of. I started cooking more, playing music, not for guests, just because I liked how the sound filled the space. A month later, my manager called me into her office. She offered me a chance to lead a new branch of our firm, a client-facing creative role I hadn't even considered applying for. We've been watching your work ethic. You're reliable, precise, quiet, but consistent. For a second I froze. Then I said yes. They gave me a relocation package, a better salary, and a title I never thought would sit next to my name, Creative Director. The move took 2 weeks. I packed up my home piece by piece, knowing this wasn't running, it was leveling up. Before I left, I visited the house one last time, walked through the rooms slowly, ran my hand along the doorway where I'd once spilled paint trying to fix the trim, and I whispered something, not to the walls, not to my past, just to myself. You did this, no one else, and no one gets to rewrite it now. Then I locked the door, not out of fear, but because this time I had keys. The new city was louder, faster, more alive than what I was used to, but it didn't intimidate me. Because when you've rebuilt yourself from eviction and silence, nothing feels foreign, just undiscovered. I settled into the new role quickly. The office was sleek, the team was sharp, the work felt real, and for the first time, people looked to me for answers. And not because they needed help moving furniture or watching someone's kid. They respected me. A few weeks in, I got invited to speak at a design conference. Small panel, nothing viral, but it mattered to me. It was the kind of thing I used to daydream about back when I was pulling double shifts and falling asleep on bus benches. Someone posted a clip of me on LinkedIn. a short excerpt where I talked about finding identity through adversity. And wouldn't you know it, that's when the emails came in. First from a cousin. She just happened to see the post, said it was so inspiring to see me doing well, then added, "Everyone's so proud. Your mom talks about you all the time now." My jaw clenched reading that, not because of the praise, but because I knew what it meant. They hadn't changed. They just smelled value again. A week later came the email from my mother. "No, I'm sorry. No, we were wrong." Just lines like, "We're all so happy you're finding success. Your brother's had a tough time adjusting to fatherhood. We're hoping to visit soon, maybe bring the baby. It'd mean the world to him to see the man you've become." I read the message 3 times, not because I didn't understand it, but because of how little it said. 12 years, and all they'd learned was how to phrase entitlement with a compliment. I didn't reply immediately. I let it sit. Then, one night, sitting on the balcony of my new apartment, I opened my laptop and wrote 5 lines. Not cold, not angry, just finished. I'm glad you're proud now, but pride doesn't rebuild what neglect erased. I have no interest in revisiting a past that only matters to you when it looks good from the outside. I wish you peace, but not presence. I hit send, closed the laptop, and for the first time in over a decade, I felt truly unburdened. It was almost a year later. I was back in my old city briefly, invited to review a branding project for a local nonprofit. One afternoon, I stopped by a hardware store. Small, tucked between 2 laundromats. Needed a few things for my new place. Funny how, even after everything, I still found comfort in aisles of tools and paint samples. I was walking toward the register when I saw him, my brother, standing near the checkout with a toddler in one arm and a leaking bag of garden soil in the other. Older, a little heavier, tired. Wearing the same brand of jacket I used to wear back when I stocked shelves overnight for $9 an hour. He saw me, our eyes locked, and in that split second I expected something. Anger, embarrassment, bitterness, maybe even guilt. But he just nodded, slow, almost mechanical. A nod that said, "I know what I did. I know you know, and I know it's too late." And I nodded back, not out of forgiveness, but out of acknowledgement. Because forgiveness isn't owed, but understanding what someone is and isn't in your life, that's freedom. I walked out of that store without looking back. Didn't tell anyone, didn't call anyone, didn't need to. Because for the first time in my life, I didn't carry the weight of being the one who left. I was simply someone who built something they couldn't take. Not a house, not a job, not a clean record, but a boundary. And that's something they'll never inherit. Thanks for listening. I don't expect applause. I'm not looking for sympathy. But if you've ever been told your place was somewhere outside the door, I hope you know you don't owe anyone access to what you bled to earn. And sometimes the only way to go back is to keep walking forward, silently, strongly, and on your own terms. Update. I wasn't planning to post anything else, but I've seen the comments, the questions, the accusations, the sympathy, the doubt. So here's one final update, not because I feel like I have to, but because I choose to end this on my terms. Let's get a few things out of the way. You're just bitter and holding a grudge. Number, I'm not bitter. I'm aware. There's a difference between carrying a grudge and recognizing a pattern. If someone burns your house down and 10 years later asks to borrow your next one, saying no isn't bitterness, it's intelligence. But it's just a house. Isn't family more important? If family was more important, they wouldn't have kicked me out the moment I turned 18. And if it's just a house, why do they want it so badly? You're punishing your brother for something your parents did. Number, I'm protecting what I built from people who don't respect what it took to build it. My brother didn't throw me out, but he also never reached out, never said a word, never offered a couch, a meal, or even a message in 12 years, until he wanted my keys. If you were really successful, you wouldn't care this much. Success doesn't erase memory. It doesn't rewrite pain. And it sure as hell doesn't make you responsible for fixing what others broke and never tried to repair. You should forgive and move on. I did move on. That's what this entire story's about. But forgiveness isn't some free pass. It's not a transaction. It's not, you hurt me for a decade, but now I'm doing well, so here's your reward. Moving on means I live in peace, without pretending people who discarded me are suddenly welcome back just because I have something they want. Do you regret not helping your brother when he became a dad? Because I don't believe helping someone start their life means handing over the one I fought to create. Being a father isn't about the building you live in, it's about the man you choose to become inside it, and that's on him. If you take anything from this story, let it be this. You are allowed to outgrow people who once held power over you. You are allowed to protect your peace without permission. You are allowed to say no, even if they raised you, share your blood, or show up with baby photos. I didn't win this story. There was no victory lap, no revenge. I just survived it and kept my name, my roof, and my dignity. And to me, that's enough.